Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the October 21st Town Board meeting. You have two exits behind you, one behind us to your right and our left. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We need a motion to open our town board meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so moved. I will make a motion to open up the continuation of public hearing for the proposed amendment of Chapter 57 of the Town Code. And in addition, the continuation of the public hearing concerning the draft scope for preparation for a draft generic environmental impact statement, which is a DGEIS, which is presently proposed local law number 4.
I'll like to second that.
Seconded by Councilman Cologne. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay. Anybody on the speakers list?
Ward Brower?
Ward Brower, private citizen. It's been on the agenda so long, feels like basic training. I'm glad that we're doing the generic environmental impact study, but I hope our consultant is exploring the facts I've been trying to make for the last couple of months, and that is we need a better way to get a bedroom count than a bedroom count. And case in point, problem was the Board of Health recognized this was a problem, and our neighboring town, and one of the projects which were high density, and they said you can no longer use that formula of bedroom count for one, which is 1.125 people per bedroom, and they upped it to 2. That's an improvement, but still not accurate. But it is an improvement. And when we were here last time, we had the Honorable Mayor from the Village of Monroe talking about a water agreement on another water deal with the Smith Farm. Trouble with that was based on a generic impact statement, again with a bedroom count of 1.125, not 2 or more. So he can't even figure out how much water he's obligated to supply, and I'm not even counting about the sewer. Also, where he comes in to play again, since he is the mayor, is that there's an agreement on Rye Hill Corridor with several of the big projects where the Village of Monroe supplies the water. Again, this project series of projects was called the Rye Hill Corridor Generic Study. But it was all based on the standard-sized family, not the super-sized family. And we know that's not a fact anymore because we've been sued by the representatives of the super-sized family on that piece of legislation when we had the moratorium. They made it pretty blatant, pretty obvious that they were not marketing to a standard-sized family. So the Village of Monroe acted obliviously, like our water requirements aren't going to go up. They're definitely going to go up. But I don't know, the Honorable Mayor should be renegotiating that contract. We need to get away from the bedroom count because even when you use a bedroom count and have it adjusted, such as the state did to 0.2 people per bedroom or 2 people per bedroom, it's still an exercise that's flawed with a lot of errors. Why not, as I suggested, get the developer, the builder, whoever you want to call them, to state up front how many people he wants in a dwelling and go from there, not to exceed basis. then you can cut out all this paperwork. It's nonsense, and it costs a lot of money. It costs the taxpayers money, it costs the developers money, and the results are, we have conditions where we run out of water and run out of sewer, as a certain village does in this town on a regular basis, and as in the town of Monroe, Old Country Road. That's a ramification of an inaccurate head count. You can't do a seeker without an accurate head count. It's all based on numbers. If the numbers are flawed, seeker's flawed. And that means you're not in compliance with the spirit nor the letter of the law. So that's my one pet peeve. The other is, on the green area, again, I'd rather have it in the town where it's stated where the voters get to vote on it, not the town board, which can change every 2 years, as we well know. The other thing about workforce housing and things like that, floating zones, those are sometimes fraught with peril, as we've seen in the past. And I would like to hear more results from our consultant. Thank you.
Thank you, Ward.
Thank you.
That's all that's signed up.
Okay. Anyone have any comments? The only, I just have one comment, and you know, Ward talked about inaccurate head count on Old Country Road. Head count's got nothing to do with that. The head count, those wells were drawn down by KJ to make the people on Orange, Old County Road, their wells go dry.
Supervisor, I think his point was that the other municipality, when they did their secret, they didn't use numbers that accurately reflected the people, that amount that was going to be used. Not the people on Old Country Road, but the people in the other municipality originally.
Whether they used correct numbers or not, they were going to surpass those numbers anyway. So they could have used 2 people per household, but they might have tripled the amount of households out of there, which is more so the reason versus the bedroom count.
And I think that's his point, that if secret is done properly, it will show a real number so that we won't run into water shortages in some other area that's being drawn down.
I mean, listen, I think the intent of the scoping session is to get public comment and have the consultant or town planner make that as part of his report on the scoping that's done for the DGIS. So while it's perfectly fine for you to comment about those other ancillary things, they don't pertain to the CCR and what we are talking about, because they would not, those properties wouldn't qualify for the CCR. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. So we're not going to respond directly to your comments, Ward, because that'll be done by the consultant like you requested. Okay. All right, you're welcome.
One point is that it was brought up that we should ask the contractor, the builder, how many people do they intend to put in each dwelling? Well, my only problem with that, they can just make up the number and just say 1. And that's my problem. In other words, the builder does not necessitate, he'll just say 4 people. Not per bedroom, per dwelling. He could just make up a number. And there's no way that, in other words, we're planning on that. So the bedroom count is a guide, but I mean, we'll have to look into this further on what we can do on that.
Anyone else? No?
Okay. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing on the scoping, leave it open for written comment until Friday the 25th, and keep the Chapter 57 public hearing open.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so moved. Item 2.3 on agenda, motion to open the continuation of the public hearing to propose changes to Article 14 of the Town of Monroe zoning local code.
And that would be the non-conforming uses.
Non-conforming uses,
And I'll
yes.
make that motion.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarella, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so move.
Ward Brower,
Ward Brower, private citizen. This is what I effectively would call the grandfather clause, speaking about it for a while. In the audience, we actually have members who represent parts of our community, where they're up to 90% of them are now not in compliance. And they've been watching this proposition go on for week after week, meeting after meeting, and really, some of them are getting a little antsy. And I don't this. I can't I can't tell them anything. I said I don't know what's going on. But the point is, we definitely need to get this where 90% of the citizens who bought houses that were in compliance or built houses that were in compliance pay taxes and appreciate having a home of value, and now they're, with a quirky little thing in the legislation, they're illegal, non-compliant. And we need to take action hopefully sooner rather than later. Because some of them actually got caught up in the system. They went for permits and then had to go through the planning process, which costs time and money, which they should never have to do. Others try to sell their houses and find out banks won't touch them because they got a hot potato here. So we really need to move on it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
that's all that's signed up.
All right, just in response to that, if there's anyone else, wants to speak on that affected their property, of course, we'd want to hear it. That's the whole idea of proposing these changes to that chapter. I know that we've had the CBA chair in conversations with the planner. They had some concerns about some of the language in the law. I know Councilwoman Bingham brought her expertise into play with this, so I think we're getting pretty close to passing this. I don't think it'll be too much longer. There's just some wording that we have to work out so that we're not opening the door to someone else to basically, one of the things that would be concerning is that someone would tear down a bungalow and build a mansion, you know what I mean? And we don't want that, because then you're talking about, bedroom counts and stuff like that. So anyway, we're working on it, and we'll have that hopefully squared away in the next meeting or so.
Thank you.
You want-
Thank you.
Is there anything else?
I'm just concerned because I've been talking to the board about it, and
You want
You'd like to come on
You
up
have
and
to come
talk?
up to the mic.
Yeah, come on up.
Tony's been to my house.
Just state your name for the
I'm
record.
Ron Johnson, citizen, or resident, whatever. No, my concern wasn't on boards, came back and said stuff like that. My property is less than an acre. It's been, I love it. It's wonderful, and I just want to see it that if I go to sell it or something like that, that I don't have to go through that process. And if you guys would just take care of that, I think you're all in agreement. I would think.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you happen to know anyone who was prohibited from
Bless you.
selling?
No, not at this point.
Bless you.
No. But I've been to the point where I'm thinking, I know.
Yeah, no, because Ward stated
Yeah,
that
yeah.
people were prohibited from selling. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of
No.
who it was. So, because I would like to speak to them and understand why they were prohibited
I
from
heard
selling.
that not from Ward at the bus barge. I don't know who it was from, but a couple people have been trying to sell, and we're told they can't. I don't have names for you because
And what was the reason? The bank wouldn't?
the bank wouldn't clear it because it was less than an acre. And what's going on, they were told what's going on in the town right now. They wouldn't do that until there was.
Yeah, if you could find out, have them give me a call. I'd love to speak to them. But just to follow up what Mike said, I had a conference call with our planner and our ZBA chair. They talked about the different loopholes that were possibly going to happen. Now, if we fast-track this and we made a mistake like we did initially with this, it's going to be a burden in the future. So we'd rather get it right than do it quickly and get it wrong like we did the first time. And the first time we did it, we took our time. That was for the comprehensive plan. So, listen, we'll get it right, and I would hope that we'd have this wrapped up by December.
Thank you.
So,
Appreciate it.
all right, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We need a motion to open the public hearing for the proposed changes to Article 14 of the Town of Monroe zoning local code.
I'll make a motion, we keep that open to the next meeting on
November 7th.
November 7th.
Thursday, November 7th.
Thursday, November 7th,
I'll second that.
Give me a time,
7 PM,
7
7:05.
7:05. Okay. Sounds good.
Can we vote?
Yes, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Next item on the agenda is to set a public hearing for the tax cap override on Thursday, November 7th at 7:10. I will make that motion.
I'd like to second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay.
And Mr. Supervisor, just to clarify that, that's not saying that we're going to go over the cap,
No.
it's just to
That's just
give us
to
the
protect us in
fail-safe.
case we
Right,
do.
Right. Okay. I don't want people to think that we intend to go over the cap.
No, absolutely not. Next item, set a public hearing for November 7th for the 2020 town budget at 7:15.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Now, set another public hearing for November 7th.
Wow.
This will be the last one for the proposed amendments to Chapter 51 of the Town Code for overweight vehicles, and that would be at 7:20.
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. I'm sorry, there was one more. Public hearing to hear the ambulance and fire protection contracts, I'm sorry, not to hear, to approve the ambulance and fire protection contracts. That public hearing will be 7:25 on November 7th.
I will make that motion.
Cologne, is second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, next up, we have an abstract for the town board. The town board requests approval of abstract 19-011, an escrow containing checks 1873 through 1877, totaling $15,337.16. I will make that motion.
I will second.
The only other thing is I just want to make sure that we have 3 signatures on all of them. Mike, you had left a note. Was that for the escrow or was that for?
There were eight that required a second signature.
Okay.
Oh, everything else was signed off on.
Yeah, but I don't think that was the
I don't think it was
escrow.
the escrow. I think it was
No,
the
I don't think the
general fund.
escrow was, it was a gas, a diesel
Okay.
fuel bill. No, yeah, I don't think it was an escrow.
Okay, so let's call a question on this one.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Next is the general fund abstract, which is abstract number 19015, general fund containing checks 24702 through 24800, which totaled $157,018.89.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay?
Discussion is we need that third signature, so it's contingent upon the vouchers having 3 signatures.
Okay. So I'll take a look tomorrow, and we'll make sure those 8 get third signatures.
Right.
Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. So moved. Item 4.3, road opening abstract. Be resolved that the Town Board of Town of Monroe requests approval of abstract number 19-003, road opening containing check 1286 for $1,500, and that's from Joel Jacobowitz.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
John, do you know exactly where that is? Because
Mountain Road with that.
It is Mountain Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
In that section, Mountain View.
Mountain View, okay. Because Noreen had left when I had,
I believe.
Tried to- okay.
Don't quote me.
all right,
I'm pretty sure.
we'll find out.
Right in that general area.
Okay,
Or that could be a Scunny Monk one too. We had two of them right around the same time.
all right. So let's call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinnis,
Okay, so moved. I'll make a motion to accept the meetings for the Town Board of the Town of Monroe from October 7th, 2019.
I'll second.
Valerie?
Yes.
Those are long, arduous minutes. Thank you very much.
Who
So,
seconded that? I'm sorry.
listen, we went back and forth for about 3 days, so. All right, so we need a approval for that?
War and Peace.
I'll make that motion. We need a second?
Second.
Oh, you did second, sorry. Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Cologne abstained.
Cardone, aye?
Scancarello, aye.
McGinnis,
Okay, so we got Councilman Cologne abstained because he wasn't present. Vacationing on the other side of the world. Good for you.
Exploring other communities.
Okay. Received a letter from Tony Schaefer, who wants to be appointed to the Monroe Joint Parks and Recreation Commission. His term will expire 12/22. He is filling in, I think it's slot number 4, but it's the only term that expires 12/22 that's vacant. So I would like to make a motion. I spoke to Mr. Schaefer. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here this evening, and he apologized for that. But Park Commission approved us appointing him. So do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinnis,
Okay. Item 6.2. I'd like to discuss this in executive session before we go any further with it. As is
6.6.
6.6, right. Thanks, Michael. Okay, next item is just bringing it up for a point of reference. The Village of Monroe requested items 3 and 4 for the levy and collection of taxes in the town highway budget. I had some conversation with Council
Mayor.
Nugent and the mayor, and we basically do not have to take any action on this, because what we've done in the past for over I think 8 years, item number 3, which is taxes levied and collected against real property within the Village of Monroe for subdivision 3 of section 141 of the highway law, are used for the purchase, repair, custody of highway machinery, tools, implements used on town highways, which highways are located outside the village limits. That has not been included in a number of years. I think it's about 8. And then item 4, we have taxed and levied against real property within the Village of Monroe for subdivision 4 of section 141 of the highway law, and that's for the removal of snow, cutting of brush, and other miscellaneous items relating to town highway outside the village limits. And essentially what that does is, basically the village is paying to use the roads in the town. Unfortunately, they cannot charge us for the roads in the village, but as Mr. Nugent has said in the past, you can't helicopter into the village, you still have to use the roads. And it's similar with respect to our paying county road taxes and state road taxes. We may not use them, but, it's part of the process. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Item 6.5, Superintendent Sherney.
I have no list of this time for you guys, so.
You have what?
I have no list of this time,
Oh, no?
so they're still working on
What about, we do have a list here, though.
it. Do you? Well, I want to make sure that's precise, and unfortunately Bob was out today. so-
Yeah, okay.
All right, so I'd like to do that maybe next time.
All right, so
I'll
let's...
make a motion, we table it to the next meeting.
Second.
Second call question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. The overtime will be tabled to, place in executive session. Item 6.7, the blood drive at Town Hall. This is a request submitted by Fight Like Lily representatives Tina Anastas and Jake Sikoriak for the use of Town Hall on Saturday, November 9th, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for a blood drive in conjunction with the New York Blood Center. Fight Like Lily is in honor of a 15-year-old former town of Monroe resident, Lily Aldred, who is bravely fighting leukemia. The family has moved to Texas, but Lily was a big part in a lot of the community events, raising funds for different charities and organizations, and I know she was involved her mom, was involved in the school district, so. So the application is before you. We just need a motion and a second to approve it. The blood drive, I think, will actually go from 10 a.m. through 4 p.m., but they need time to set up, and it will be held in the meeting hall, not the prospective new courtroom.
I'd like to make that motion.
I will second.
Any other discussion? Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, ZBA member training. So, the request was submitted by Secretary Noreen Sweeney, and that's the approval for ZBA member Austin Seed, who is relatively new, to attend a full-day training session offered by Orange County Municipal Planning Federation for Land Use and Planning. It's on November 1st, 2019. Cost of the class is $60, and there'll be some small mileage associated with that. I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe $8 to $10.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved.
Planning.
Yep. So basically,
6.9 is or 6.6 is executive, right?
Is that the one? You got it?
3 and 6.6.
Planning board member training.
and you know, before there was an error in that. We're gonna have to rescind that prior motion because that was for two people to attend training, Lisa McQuaid and Austin Seed, and that was $30 each.
You said 60.
I said 60, but yeah, there was the people were not. Both of them, I don't think were listed in there. So
So there's two separate,
Two separate people.
yeah, one's
for training.
planning.
right, and one
And
ZBA,
one's
so we can just handle it as a separate,
Yeah, all right.
do it
So
that
we
way.
need a motion to approve Lisa McQuaid.
It's 6.9.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, at 6.9,
I'll second.
and that's the same amount. That's
No, Lisa's
30.
30.
Lisa's $30.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
160.
The other one's 60. This is 30. So Lisa, I think, only has to go to a portion.
Yes, it's got
And
two.
it's on two different dates.
Right.
So the approval for planning board member Lisa McQuaid to attend 2 evenings training sessions being offered by Orange County Municipal Planning Federation of Land Use and Planning on November 6th and 14th at a cost of $15 per session.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And that would also include some mileage. Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. All right, next item, public comment.
Hey, just before we jump into that, under old business, I wanted to take care of the security contract.
Okay, I have some items from the floor, too.
Okay. All right, so we received bids back from two bidders for the security contracts for the electronic security at Town Hall. One company, Stratagem, they actually provided two different options. One option cost $101,609.70. Let's grab that for a second. That was one option, and the other option came in at $96,756.72. and it had a few less devices than the other option. The second bidder was Excel Security out of Manhattan. Excel, their bid was $69,149 for the contract, and did a comparison of both submissions. Both submissions are consistent with what was in the bid. The number of cameras, door contacts, alarms, everything is consistent with each of the bids. So my recommendation to the board is to obviously go with the lower bid, $69,000. It's roughly a $30,000 savings over the other contractor.
And what was the name?
Excel Security.
Okay. EXCEL or two L's?
1L.
Okay. Okay. I will make that motion.
Before you make that motion, I just want to let you know that I'm going to recuse myself from voting. 10 years ago, I worked for that company, Excel Security. So I just want to make in a full transparency that I will not be voting on it. In their submission, or their bid submission, they had on they submitted a letter saying, yes, I worked for that company 10 years ago. But again, it is the low bid by a substantial amount, and
they're still in business?
yes, and they're doing quite well. So, just full disclosure, I'm gonna recuse myself and not vote on it.
Okay.
So it's at the board's pleasure.
All right, so I will make that motion to approve the Excel contract, security contract.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Bingham. She beat you to it, so. Yeah. She's good. She's quick.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Oh, did you say it?
No.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, all right, I'm sorry. I thought I heard her say something down there. All right, so it's Councilman Scancarello who seconded that motion. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
There's telepathy.
Jedi
Councilman
power.
McGinn, recusing myself.
Okay, so moved. All right. So the first item I have is our copy machine at Town Hall is not coming to an end, but we have a deal that will help us in more ways than one. So we will save money getting a higher grade copier from Konica Minolta. It's a BizHub C659. The monthly cost is $194.51, which is a $30 savings from what we presently pay. The estimated cost for 7,000 copies per month would be an additional $47.60, and that was a tweak in the black and white price, and that was for black and white. And then the color price stayed the same at 3.62 cents per copy for approximately 3,350 copies per month. And everything is prorated after the month, and it's a month behind. And that came out to $121.27. So I think the total savings there was about $18 to $20. And that copy that we have now will be moved over to Dial-A-Bus, because Dial-A-Bus's service has expired. That copy machine is over 10 years old. This is basically a state of New York bid with respect to the monthly price. So I would like to make a motion that we approve this, well, I can't make the motion because I have to sign the contract, so somebody else has to make.
All right, I'll make the motion for the Konica Minolta BizHub C659 copier.
I will second.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Thank you. Actually, wait,
Do we need a motion to have you sign it
Yeah,
as
you need a
well?
motion to have me
I'll
sign
make
the
a motion to
contract.
authorize the supervisor to sign the contract as specified.
I will
Second.
second.
He beat you to it.
Sal beat Councilwoman Bingham. So. Call the question.
Whoa,
Bingham, aye.
take it easy.
Cardone abstain.
Scangarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so
McGinn,
moved.
aye.
All right, two other items that we need to discuss before we enter into a public hearing, before we add it to a public hearing on November 7th. So, we presently have two bonds out there, bans out there for $3.5 million and $3.415 million. One is for the town hall renovation and the purchase of a new truck, and the other is for the All Mine property. So, what we want to do, and this is all covered in the previous contract that we had for the bands, we want to combine them. But what we have to do is we have to add two possible bonds into it for the future. And what would happen is, let's say the total we asked to bond on November 7th is $7.5 million or $8 million, we combine it. We do not have to borrow that in totality. It will just give us the option to do that. So I have two, I spoke with Delafield, Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood today, their attorney, Bill Jackson, and he basically prepared these two documents for an order calling for a public hearing to be held on November 7th. So the first one is for the improvement of the facilities of Water District Number 12 pursuant to Section 202B of Town Law. The issue there is, a number of years ago, the town lent Water District Number 12 almost $250,000, and the town needs to be made whole. They should have been made whole the first calendar year that it was borrowed, and we haven't. And the only issue that has come up since that wasn't done is there's a good possibility it's going to be a taxable bond versus a non-taxable, because of the fact it was done more than a year ago. So I'd like to make a motion that we set that public hearing for November 7th at 7:30. And that is for the increase in improvements of the water facilities at Water District Number 12.
I'll second. You made the motion, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, Kelowna second.
Any other discussion? Call the question?
I will abstain because more than a year ago, I definitely was a resident who would benefit from this.
Okay.
All right, Kelowna, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. Next item up is a public hearing for 7:35, and that's for the $275,000 in bonds for the acquisition of a new highway truck. That amount would be the, top number that we would borrow, $275,000, or the high end that we would borrow. So I would like to make a motion that we add that onto the public hearing slate for November 7th for $275,000 in bonds for the acquisition of a new highway truck.
Kelowna second.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Kelowna, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. The reason, and just so everyone understands, the reason for doing this quicker is because of the waiting period, the estoppel period, and I would like to get it done by the end of December so that it is something we can move forward with in January. And it has to be budgeted as well, the debt service on it, so. Okay. Item 8.1, rules for public comment. No rules. Okay, item 8.2, public comment.
Lorraine Loning.
Good evening, Lorraine Loning, Village of Monroe. Well, the thing I wanted to talk about, you actually put into executive. I wanted to congratulate Bob on his retirement. It's well deserved. I know him very well. So good for him. And then I guess I want to congratulate him on a new part-time job. So that is a question I have. It seems lately when folks retire, they've been getting a part-time job, and then instead of replacing those full-time jobs with a full-time employee, it's about the retired person having a part-time gig and then a new person having a part-time gig. I'm not really sure why you guys are doing that. When I retire, I'm going to retire. There's no more dipping my toe in the water still. So, I mean, there's lots of reasons why you might want to do part-time employment. I mean, I sat in this room when it was filled to the brim when previous town boards would only hire part-time people. It was a way to circumvent civil service rules. You wouldn't have to go off of a test or of a list. There was some patronage going on. That's one of the reasons some folks might want to do it. There's also the benefit savings, but those benefits were already in the soup, so to say, with the people who are retiring. So, you wouldn't be adding anything if you replaced a full-time employee with a full-time employee. So I have a question about that. Are these part-time people, are they part of the union? Do they have civil service protections? Just things like that. I'm kind of curious about the direction that you guys are going. Because like I said, I remember this place being stacked with people screaming shenanigans over this sort of business. So I don't know where the people are, but I'm here. Shenanigans. The last thing I want to talk about is a FOIL request. I put one in early September. Usually when you deny me, you don't string me along this long, and when you satisfy the request, I get it quicker. So I was just wondering if that might be lost in the FOIL.
What was your request specifically?
It was about water analysis for the all mine property and all stuff that went into the purchase of that property. Whatever you got, I asked for. So if you could just let me know one way or the other. I've been denied before. I'll be denied again. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Ward Brower?
Ward Brower, private citizen. Just questions. Is it online, the overweight law, specification of the law?
I do not know what's online.
Oh, that's a...
Val, is that listed online yet?
What's that?
The overweight?
The overweight.
No,
vehicles.
it wouldn't be listed online until we approved it for a public hearing. So
So it'll be up there before the next public hearing.
Okay, that's
So,
what I
yeah, it'll
meant.
be available online.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to get approved for a public hearing before it goes online. Yep.
And the second question was, what's the venue for the ethics training on the 23rd?
it's a court, what would be the new court at Town
In
Hall.
that tunnel?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ward. Thank you.
That's all that signed up.
Okay.
Anybody else?
No one else?
No one else? Public comment? Going once? Going twice?
Don't push it.
Okay.
Rick's got jet lag.
Lorraine, in answer to your question, you had said that in the past, the boards had hired people part-time to circumvent civil service law.
I don't know why they
You can't, you can't circumvent civil service law by hiring part-timers. The thing we feel is a benefit is that since we're crunching numbers with budgets, we're omitting for each person that was full-time that goes part-time, we're omitting about $25,000 in benefits. So we have essentially two people, which account for one person, for hours-wise, and you're basically saving $25,000
Each.
there. And we need somebody in there to train someone who's going to take over that job. So,
Yeah, just to kind of dovetail off that, it's more of a matter of expertise. It's not about, like again, circumventing civil service rules or hiring lists. Listen, when we've had to do that, as we've done when we hired a new, building inspector, code enforcement person, we know we needed a full-time person. But if like I said, in the case of Bob, and certainly with Helen Knickerbocker, I mean, the historical knowledge that both of them possess, you're not going to get that in somebody off a list that you're going to hire full-time. So if we can keep them part-time and still get that, still retain that knowledge, I think it's a benefit to the town and the taxpayers, you know? So, and listen, at some point, Bob will retire, and we haven't even discussed it, so that's, you know, whether that happens or not is a whole other discussion, but, someday he will, and hopefully we have a break-in period where someone will learn that job to the extent that it needs to be learned before they take it over. There's no questioning that Bob is a linchpin. I'm sure the super will tell you that, and so, anyway, we're not pulling shenanigans, as you were, this.
No shenanigans or scope.
Zero shenanigans. So, thank you.
Supervisor.
I don't mind, I don't know why you didn't, I
Just
think.
address that.
Yeah, okay, I was gonna say, it's
If I may.
problem. Yes, please, go ahead.
With respect to the FOIL requests, sometimes they're easy requests that the clerks can handle, and they just deal with it. In this case, they had to send it over to our office, because sometimes there are exemptions that may apply, as there were in this case, so we do recommendations on redactions, and we send it back. My understanding is you will have that tomorrow. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Nugent.
It's the lawyer's fault.
Well, it still is pending, litigation in some respects, so.
Okay. I'll make a motion if nobody else wants to say anything. I know you guys just walked in. Anything you wanted to add, or?
I'm wondering if zoning was going to be addressed.
Yes. Did you want to add something?
Please step up to the mic, sir.
What?
There were some of the people that talked to me over the weekend.
Oh, wait, come on up.
Come on up.
Just state your name for the record, where you live.
Cheryl May. You want the address and everything?
No, just town, road.
Okay, Town of Monroe. It's come to my attention that there's, I guess Mr. Brower has already spoken about it, and I think the people in our community would be affected by,
Non-conforming?
yeah. So I don't know, where do we stand with that?
So basically what we spoke about before was we have been talking with our planning and ZBA chairs, and they have been relating that to their boards to try to get some other comments and changes possibly to what the initial draft was that was produced. We had a conference call, I had a conference call with our ZBA chair and our planner, and I know that we hope to have everything in order by December to approve it. And I'm not asking this to be nosy, I'm just asking this, did you have an issue selling your house or trying to sell your house?
No, but as I'm president of our association now, I kind of represent 60 families in our area.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And so
It's an issue.
it's an issue.
Yeah, I got it.
We have a lot of houses that are in the process of being, up for sale, and
And like I had said before, our goal is to make sure this is done right, because when we did the comprehensive plan, this was an omission that should have been caught, and it wasn't.
okay.
Because,
Because you're familiar with our area.
Oh,
You
very
know.
much so.
I know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of properties that wouldn't,
wouldn't conform.
right.
Totally understand. And that was not our intent when we did the comprehensive plan.
Okay.
But we will correct the malfeasance on our part.
Okay.
Ooh, it's a tough word. I wouldn't say malfeasance, it's more like a mistake, but, yeah, we just want to make sure that nothing is interpreted in the new law that would allow someone to say, tear down a small house and build a monstrous type thing that doesn't conform with even today's, our revised zoning, setbacks and all that, so we just want to make sure we get it right, and we...
It would be pretty hard to do that in our community anyway, but...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know what I mean?
Say never.
We gotta look at the whole town, you know what I mean? So
it
it's,
can be done.
yeah, but we should have that squared away
Okay,
within the
very
next
good.
couple of meetings, hopefully, so.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you very much for attending. Anyone else? You could tell your teacher you stayed for the whole meeting, with the exception of what happened after executive session. Good job. So I'd like to make a motion to come out of our regular meeting and go into executive session
I'll second.
to discuss litigation and personnel.
Colonna second.
Call in second. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Colonna, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay.